Good morning, everybody, and happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. I know I always sound happy on Saturdays, but it's the weekend. Can't lie. How you doing? I'm Coach Ray. Thank you for joining me for today's stick mobility class. Welcome to the September edition. So for today's class, the main focus is I'm going to be focusing on drills around strengthening the knee, or more so, strengthening movements that can help with knee health. And so some of the drills we're going to do, or let's go over the equipment first. I have all three sticks with me today. 2 long, 1 short. I have a kettlebell here and I have 2 bands. Now the bands are light. That's going to be for some of the hip drills. Now when it comes to knee health, we have to look at the relation of the hips. And there's ankles as well, but we got to look at the relation of the hips. Meaning, do we have sufficient movement in the hips, external, internal rotation, and good stability? So the drills we're going to be specifically focusing on today are going to be stability based. So we're going to do a touchdown squat, or like a single leg touchdown squat. So I'm going to use a slant board for that. We're also going to do a Cossack squat. So we're going to be working on those lateral tissues or lateral movements to strengthen out the lateral glutes, but also work on that stability there as well. And also we're going to be working on a Bulgarian split squat, having your back foot elevated. So you'll also need a bench, or if you have like a Bulgarian split squat type of setup, that'd be perfect to actually have. So a lot of drills we're going to be focusing on, again, is working on strengthening mostly the hips and getting sufficient movement or synergistic movement throughout the body, particularly working with the knee. So we're going to go through a full body warm up like we usually do. So we're going to go with 2 long sticks here. And what I want to focus on first is I want to focus on pelvic tilts, working with getting the hips moving. I'm going to have both sticks roughly about shoulder width, and I'm going to have the bottom of the sticks angled in towards me. Now, I actually want to go with a wider stance than shoulder width, and I want to squat down just a bit. So get into that horse stance. Stay nice and tall. And I want to drive the sticks down about 30%, having my hands at roughly about shoulder height. And I'm going to do a posterior tilt, so I'm going to tuck my pelvis in. So if this is my pelvis, I want to roll it back here. Then I'm going to go into an anterior tilt. So you want to feel those lower back tissues fire. Let's go into a posterior tilt, squeeze those glutes, drive those knees out. And then we're going to go into an anterior tilt. Posterior tilt, anterior tilt. Good, just want to get movement of the pelvis, not of the spine. Posterior tilt, anterior tilt. Good, let's go back into posterior here. Now we're going to work with lateral hip bumps. So I'm going to bump my hip to the right, and then I'm going to bump my hip to the left. So left hip up, right hip drops. Bump the right hip. Good. Left hip. Just trying to create some movement in the pelvis. Right hip. Excellent. Left hip. Right. Good. And left. Excellent. Back to center. And we're going to ease off here. Now I want to work on stretching the hamstrings a little bit. So I'm going to turn to the side here. I'm going to go with both feet together, so feet are touching. I'm going to take my left heel and I'm going to place it right in front of the line of my right toes here. Both sticks are angled out in front. This is going to give me a direction to reach down towards. Now I want to have this left knee slightly bent, and I want to drive my heel almost like I'm trying to go into hip extension. So about 10 to 20%. And now from here, trying to keep your spine as neutral as you can, I want you to reach down towards the bottom of the sticks, driving your hips back. Only go down as far as you can, managing neutral spine. Now from here, still driving that heel back, I want you to start to rotate. So rotate your hip away. So I'm externally rotating my hip, and now I'm going to internally rotate my hip. So we're just going to floss back and forth here. Externally rotate. So away from your center line, and then we're going to internally rotate toward your center line. Externally rotate. Good. Internally rotate. Make sure you're breathing. External. Good, and internal. Back to center. We're gonna slowly come up and ease off. We're gonna switch sides. So now I'm gonna go with my right heel forward, ankles dorsiflexed, sticks are on the shoulders. Drive that heel into the floor lightly, and we're gonna hinge. Drive those hands down towards the bottom of the sticks. Again, you still wanna go with that neutral spine. We're gonna go external rotation, so rotate that hip. The movement should come from the hip joint. Internal, so towards the center line. Good, external. Internal. External. Good, breathe. Internal, keep that tension of extending or driving that heel back. One more time, external. Good, and internal. Back to center, come up, and ease off. And now we're gonna go to a standing position, tall position, feet together. We're gonna work with internal, external rotation of the hip. So feet are together, sticks are how wide the sticks are gonna depend on you. So you can start with it more narrow and then move out wider if you'd like. It depends on your mobility. I'm gonna have the bottom of the sticks angled in towards me. I'm gonna start on my right hip, being the active hip. So I'm gonna move over to my left, just a smidge. So my foot's directly in the center of the sticks here. I wanna drive both sticks down at 30%. I wanna bring that right knee up. All right, just wanna get it to about hip height. And now I'm gonna externally rotate that hip, push against the stick, 3, 2, 1. Now internally rotate, 3, 2, 1, externally rotate, 3, 2, 1, good, internally rotate, 3, 2, 1, let's go one more time each way. External, 3, 2, 1, internal, 3, 2, 1, back to center, bring it down and ease off. Now we're gonna come over to the right a little bit. Make sure that left foot is directly in the center of the stick. Same thing, drop both sticks down, 30%. Bring that left knee up to hip height. Externally rotate. 3, 2, 1, internal. 3, 2, 1, external. 3, 2, 1, internal. 3, 2, 1, last one. External. 3, 2, 1, and internal. 3, 2, 1. Back to center, down, and ease off. Excellent. I'm gonna place one stick down. Okay, and I wanna work with opening up that spine. I think we all know how much I love some spinal movements. So what are we gonna do here? I'm gonna go with the slap shot. Now with the slap shot, we're gonna focus on a lot of upper body tensioning. So you're gonna go out to a wide stance. Wide is whatever's comfortable for you. If you feel better with the narrow stance, which is where you need to start, I will start narrow and then move your feet out wider. If you go too wide, you're not gonna be able to get into that stretch as much. So the stick's behind my mid back, thumbs are facing out away from me. I'm going to hinge. So now we're gonna get another hamstring stretch, get into the adductors a little bit. If you did deadlifts a few days ago, this might feel pretty good. So now from here, I'm going to rotate the left end of the stick down. So I'm gonna pull that left hand towards my center line, place it into the stick on the floor, and I'm gonna pull apart at 30%. Now I just wanna hold that position. You should be feeling upper back tension and an increase in rotation. I'm gonna ease off, come back to center. Now I'm gonna rotate the right end down, place it on the floor, pull apart 30%. Make sure you're breathing. Good, ease off, back to center. Rotate the left end a little further if you can. So now we get an increased demand on rotation. Pull apart, 30% still. Ease off. Now we're going to rotate the right end down. Further across if you can. Pull apart, 30%. Good. Back to center. Let's rotate that left end down again. Try to get as far as you can without any pain or discomfort. And now from here, we're going to pull apart and we're going to lunge to the left. So drive off that right leg. I want you to let go with your left hand. Reach to 3 o'clock. Back to center and then lunge to the left again. Still reaching towards 3. So now we get more rotation. Back to center. One more time. Lunge to the left. Good. Back to center. Place the left hand back on the stick. Come to neutral. Now we're going to rotate that right end down. We're going to do that same thing. Pull apart. Going to take that right hand off. Lunge to the right. We're reaching to 9. Good. Back to center. Lunge to the right. Drive off that left leg. Back to center. Lunge one more time. Back to center. Place that right hand back on. Gonna come back to neutral. Stand up and wiggle those feet in. Excellent. Now we're gonna place the long stick down. We're gonna go with the short stick here. Now I also wanna get in some kayaking. Really trying to focus on getting some spinal movement. So it's not just the shoulders. We're gonna actually get some rotation in. So we're gonna go with our fingertips on the ends of the sticks, like so. If you have a longer stick, you can always go with a thumbs out grip. So from here, feet are about roughly shoulder width, toes pointed forward. I'm gonna squeeze my glutes. We don't want movement from the hips or even the spine right now. So I'm gonna start with that right hand up. Keep your elbows extended, right? Don't want to go with the bent elbow position. That takes away from it. I'm going to drive that right hand through. Left hand comes up and over. And now drive that left hand through. So you should be feeling a lot of movement from the shoulder blade. Breathe. Good. Nice and slow. You should not be going faster than I am. If you are, slow it down. Excellent. Keep it going. Now in this few seconds, we're going to start to actually segment rotating the spine. Now as the right hand comes up and over, rotate to the left. Rotate to the right. Left. Right. Left. Good. Right. Left. And right. Now, in a few seconds again, we're going to start to pivot the feet. All right. So I'm going to pivot my right foot. Get a lot more rotation here, right? Come over, pivot the left. So we're getting a lot more movement, segmenting the entire body into the drill. Good. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Excellent. Now, this is where we're going to need our slant board. Or if you have a plate, something that's elevated by about 2 to 3 inches, all depends on what you have available, that's what you want to go with. So with the slant board, it just puts me on the slant. Even if you happen to have like a, what's another piece of equipment that you can use? A plate will be good. A plate will be best, right? Now, the purpose of this drill is to focus on, again, knee stability. You have to know where your knee is tracking. You want your knee to track right over your midfoot. If anything, slightly, very slightly more towards the outer part of your foot. Now, what your feet are doing are also important. If your toes are coming up, you are not pressing your toes into the floor hard enough. You need to create that stability in the arch. So what we do with the feet, pressing the toes down, not grabbing the ground, but pressing the toes down, creates an active arch, which will connect quite a bit better to what our knee and hip is doing. So I'm gonna move this forward a bit more. Now, if you're like me, you enjoy squatting, this is a really, really good drill to actually do before you do any kind of squat, realistically. And so we're gonna go 2 sets, and we're gonna do 8 reps per side. Now, the first set we'll do with the 6, this is just gonna simply be for balance, and then we're gonna take the 6 away to further increase that challenge. So I'm gonna come up onto the slant board, and I'm actually gonna have my feet together at first. I'm gonna start on my right leg. So for me, my right hip, sometimes it tends to be a little bit tighter than my left. So I'm going to have my right foot planted. Again, we wanna make sure that we're driving our toes down, not curling them in, driving them down. And so you should feel like there's a bit of a contraction in the arch of your foot, because that's what we're doing. We're just creating a little bit more of an arch. Drive that big toe down nice and hard. Again, the sticks are just simply here for balance. So I have the sticks in a spot that are good, and what I'm gonna do from here is I'm going to start to squat. I'm gonna hinge a bit and then start to squat down. I just wanna go until my left heel touches the floor, and then I'm gonna come back up. All right, so we're gonna get the knee trekking forward quite a bit here. So that's what we wanna do, we wanna load that. So I'm gonna go down, nice and slow and controlled, back up, that's 2. Down, up, 3, good, down, up, 4, down, up, 5, down, 6, 7, one more, and 8. Good. Place that left foot down. So, should be feeling those quads really, really wake up here. So again, this is kind of one of those drills. Not only is it a way to see how your hips and feet and ankles are doing, but it kind of lets you know what you need to work on for that day. So, driving my left foot into my toes into the floor. I'm gonna bring my right foot forward here. Now we're gonna do the left side. Squat down, then up, 1, down, up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 more, 7, one more time, and 8. Good. Want to take a break for a second? We're going to put the sticks down. So now we're going to increase that challenge. So what you want to pay attention to again is, where's your knee tracking? Wherever your knee is tracking, that's just simply a byproduct of what your hip is doing. And so for this, I'm going to go back to that feet together position. Have your hands wherever you want, but you want to create tension, right? And the position of your spine, again, we're going to get a little bit of a hinge here, right? Don't need to get into too big of a hinge. So right foot is down. I'm going to drive my toes into the floor. I want to try to create balance. So this is where that big challenge comes in. Now we have to focus on balancing ourselves. So from here, go down, touch, 1. And find a place for you to fix your eyes. For me, I kind of like to fix my eyes a little bit down and forward. Up, it's 2, good. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more time. and 8. Good. Take a second. Now we're going to switch sides. So now we're looking at taking away that balancing or that aspect of having a 6 there. So you're going to notice it's going to be quite a bit harder for this. So we're going to drive the left toes down. Up. 1. Good. 2. 3. Nice and controlled. 4. 5. 6. 2 more. 7. One more time. 8. Excellent. Good. Now, again, that's a really good drill to do, particularly if you're trying to work for squats. So sometimes there's things we don't notice when we're doing bipedal movements, such as a squat. Because now we have since we go to the single leg drills, we take away that aspect of take away the aspect of balancing on the other leg or utilizing the other leg to balance. So the single leg drills or unilateral drills are really, really good for that because that teaches us, okay, where are our weaknesses at? Where are we deficient in? And how can we bring that up? So sometimes certain drills can not only be a testing drill, but a stability drill that we can incorporate into our training. So now we're going to go with some hip abduction because we're going to get into those Cossack squats. And that's where the kettlebell is going to come in. So again, I have a light band here. And I'm going to take the band, I'm going to place it around my foot. Now, notice it's not around my ankle. It's around my arch of my foot here. Reason being, I want to keep my hip in the place where it's neutral as I go into abduct. Because this is going to be pretty much the position we want our hip to be in, or slightly turned out position, as we get into the Cossack squat. So we're going to get into Vitruvian man. I'm going to have both of my feet a few inches apart, right? Try to find a good balancing point. I'm going to have the bottom of the sticks in towards me. Now, remember, with the band, that makes it more challenging. So from here, arms are straight out. I'm going to drive both sticks into the floor at 60% tension. I'm going to hover my left foot. So already you're going to feel a little bit of that rebound, right? Now from here, I'm going to bring my left foot to the left stick, and I want to push. 3, 2, 1, come back in, nice and slow, under control. But keep that foot hovering, go out again, keep that right leg straight. 3, 2, 1, back in. Excellent, let's go again. Drive out, push. 3, 2, 1, good. Let's go 2 more. Out, push. 3, 2, 1. One more time. Out. 3, 2, 1. Back in. Nice and slow. Ease off. Good. Now we're going to switch over to the other side. And again, we're looking at controlling how the hip is moving. Don't just let it slingshot back in. So drive both sticks down. Hover the right foot, keep that foot facing forward, push. 3, 2, 1, in, out. 3, 2, 1, good, back in, out. 3, 2, 1, that's 3, excellent, we got 2 more. Out. 3, 2, 1, good, one more time. Push. 3, 2, 1, back in, ease off. Excellent, good. Going to take the band off. Now, we're going to get into that Cossack. So, I'm going to go with the light kettlebell. This is 10 kilos. So as we get into this, again, we want to focus on driving the toes down. That's extremely important. whenever you do any kind of lower body drill, if it's deadlifts, if it's squats, if it's Bulgarians, if it's lunges, if it's whatever, your toes should be actively pushing into the floor. That is how we create better stability when we're doing certain movements. And that's kind of controls, at least at the lowest part of the extremity, what you're doing with that knee. If you're not driving your toes down, now you have a lot more instability from that lower aspect, and you can't connect to that hip all that well. So we're gonna go with the Cossack here. And again, I have a light weight. You can go with no weight. You can just simply hold the stick if you'd like, but I'm gonna go with a little bit of weight here. Now, I'm gonna go with the pretty wide stance. I have my toes angled out, right? I'm not going with a fully toe forward position. That's not ideal for me. I actually go with a slight toe out angle. So find that angle that's pretty comfortable for you. So I'm gonna get the kettlebell into a front rack position on my right side. I'm gonna be lunging to my right first. And so from here, I wanna keep a nice, good, tall spine, keep my core engaged. And now I'm going to lunge to my right, driving off my left leg. And I wanna sink into it as much as I can, and then drive off that right leg. Let's go again. So sink down, up, 2, drive those toes into the floor, up, 3, good, sink down, up, 4, one more time, and up, 5, good. Now we're gonna switch sides, and I'll actually kind of turn to the side for this one. Let me adjust this real quick. All right, so we're gonna do 5 on this side as well. So I'm gonna get wide stance. Again, my stance is roughly about the same. Your stance can change as you get more mobile. So I'm in a front rack position here, nice and tight. Hand out, gonna sink into that left side, driving off that right leg. Up, 1. Remember, we're only driving off this left leg here. Up, 2. Up, 3. Up, 4. One more time. Up, 5. Good. Place the kettlebell down. Take a second. So we're going to get into one more set. We're going to do 5 reps again. And then we're going to get into our Bulgarian. I'm just going to use a bench just because it's really, really easy to access. But also, our back foot is going to be in a certain position. Typically, we go with a plantar flex position. We're actually going to go with the dorsiflex position on that one. So take a second, and then we're going to do it again. So we're going to get into it. Go to the right hand. Nice, good front rack position here. Sink down. Second time around should feel a little bit better. 1. Up. 2. Up. 3. Up. 4. One more. Up. 5. Good. I'm going to switch hands. Front rack position here. To the left. Up. 1. 2. Nice and smooth. Up. 3. Up. 4. One more time. And up. 5. Good. Excellent. So now we can move the kettlebell over to the side. So now we're going to use the bench, and we are going to start off with the sticks. at least for the first set. We got 2 sets of this. Now, reason being that we're actually gonna have our back foot dorsiflexed is we're actually gonna get a pretty nice stretch on the anterior tissues of that hip. However, you're not supposed to shift back, right? So sometimes some of the mistakes that people make when doing a Bulgarian, they shift their weight back far, far, far too much. And you really want to keep that front leg loaded as much as you possibly can. So it's effectively like doing a single leg squat. So I'm gonna go, so figure out where your best distance is. I'm gonna start with my right foot on the bench. And again, my ankle is dorsiflexed, so my big toe is actually an extension. Now, how far out you're gonna be, that varies. Depends on your anatomical structure, your limb length. So for me, if I wanna end up in a really good tall position here, I need to have my left leg or left foot under my hip, under my left hip here. So we're just gonna do 8 reps. And I'm gonna have the sticks, bottom of the sticks, about 6 to 8 inches in front of the line of my toes here. Now I'm not driving the sticks into the floor. Remember, this is just for balance. So keeping a nice good position, I'm going to squat down on that front leg, right? Look how I'm shifted forward. I'm in a little bit of a hinge position, but my weight is on my front leg here. And back up, 1. Up, 2. And you can adjust your position as you need to, so I'm going to adjust my position forward a bit more. Up, 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. One more time. 8. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. So right foot goes down, left foot's on. Again, dorsiflexing that ankle, big toe into extension. Go down, up, 1. You want to get to full extension. Down, up, 2. Up, 3. Up, 4. 5. 6. 7. One more time. And 8. Good. Ease off. Take a second. Sticks go away. So for this next set, if it's too uncomfortable for you to keep that big toe in extension, plantar flex your ankle, have the top of your foot into the bench, if that's more comfortable for you to get into position here. So I'm going to go with my left foot again. Big toe down, figure out that distance. Remember, we're not shifting back. We're in that hinge position where our weight is centered mostly on that front leg. You want about 90% of your weight on that front leg here. Go down, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more time, and 8. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. Right leg down, left leg's going to be on the bench. Get that distance pretty good here. Up, 1, drive that entire foot into the floor. Up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, one more time, and 8. Excellent, good. So, take a break. Now that's where we actually really focus on the stability factor. So, looking at the drills we just did, they were single leg drills. All of them were single leg drills in one way or another. So, if you're looking to actually add in certain things that are going to contribute to, again, a squat, a deadlift, you can do Bulgarian split squat. That's a specific carryover to something different. Or even if you're going to do like a sled push, getting that knee alignment makes all the difference when you're performing some of those drills. Particularly if you're going to do like a box jump. Think of a box jump. If I were going to run and jump on a box, I want everything to be stacked. It's not going to make sense if I go to run and jump and I'm in this position, right? This is not an ideal position. This is a more ideal position. So keeping your joints stacked and learning how to keep your joints stacked make all the difference in how you perform a lot of different movements. So if you're missing stability and missing that aspect of getting your glutes to turn on, getting all those intrinsic hip muscles to turn on when you're doing whatever exercise, that is what's going to make your knee health overall quite a bit better. It's going to take care of some of those aspects that we're missing in terms of stability. Now, to focus on stretching, because we just did a whole lot of work on the anterior tissues, let's go ahead and stretch those things out. So if you have a pad to kneel on, perfect time to grab it. So we're going to go to the floor. We're going to get into a hip flexor stretch. Now, I'll actually kind of turn to the side here, and I'll go with my right knee down. So my back foot, plantar flex. I want the top of my foot into the floor here. We need to create that tension on the anterior tissues. Left foot is forward at the bottom of the sticks in line with the heels of my front foot here. Hands are roughly about shoulder height. Now, first thing, I want to drive my back foot into the floor 20%. You're going to feel, again, those quads kind of turn on a little bit here. Next thing, do a posterior pelvic tilt. We were doing this earlier. We want to roll that pelvis back like so, right? That is going to even get a bigger stretch on those anterior tissues. Now we get into that rectus femoris a little bit more. So I'm going to squeeze my right glute, right? So now we increase that stretch a little bit more, right? So we're kind of progressively increasing that stretch and tension. And now I'm going to lightly drive the sticks down about 20% and just hold this position here, right? For a lot of people, this is a big stretch, right? It's all about alignment in where your body is moving when you're doing certain drills or what you're activating. Ease off, take a second. We're going to do that again. Now we're going to shift forward a little bit or split the hips actively. So the hips should be doing this kind of motion. If the sticks are your hips, you want to split them. So it's not just doing this. This is not going to achieve a deeper stretch. So drive that back foot down, right? Tuck the pelvis, squeeze that right glute, get that hip into extension so you're not getting into your low back. Now I'm going to actively split the hips. So notice, as I'm getting into it, my torso is staying stacked over my hips. That is how you split the hips. The torso stays in that exact alignment. Lightly drive those sticks down, 20%. We're going to hold. Yeah, this might feel like a little bit of an intense stretch, and that's okay. If you need to, back off the stretch a little bit. Good. We're going to ease off, nice and slow, and relax. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So I'm going to, again, we're plantar flexing that back ankle. We're going to go through that same series of activation. Drive that back foot into the floor. First part, posterior tilt. Squeeze that left glute. Drive the sticks down 20%. Deep breaths. Doing good, doing good. 3, 2, 1, excellent. Ease off. Now we're gonna do that same thing we do on the other side, right? Split those hips. That's how we get that shift forward. Drive the back foot into the floor, tuck your pelvis, squeeze the left glute, drive the sticks down, and split the hips. There we go. Breathe. Three, two, one. Excellent. We're going to ease off nice and slow. Now we're going to stand up here. So now we're going to stretch out those adductors. So we did get into Cossack squat. We're going to kind of go back to that same position a bit. So I'm going to have my feet out relatively wide. Again, this is adjustable to you. If you don't have good adductor mobility, or if it's super duper tight, bring that stance in, right? You don't have to go super duper wide. So I'm going to have the bottom of the sticks angled out in front, so they're resting on my shoulders. Now what my feet are doing, I don't want to have a full toe out angle. This kind of neglects the stretch a little bit. I want to go with more of a toe forward angle here, or as much as you can actually tolerate. So I'm going to have my hands on the top of the sticks here. This is going to act as my guide. So I'm going to have a slight bend to the knees, and then I'm going to drive my hips back towards the wall behind me, reaching down towards the bottom. Now, you're going to notice real good stretch in the hamstrings here. It's going to feel pretty good. So we're going to hang out here for a moment. Try to focus on your breathing. Try to sink those hips back. Now we're going to lunge each direction. So we're going to start by lunging to our right by driving off that left leg. Now you're going to notice a bit of a stretch in that adductor. All right, that's what we're going for. Now when we shift to the other side, you're going to stay low. So I'm going to shift over to my left, driving off that right leg, staying nice and low. All right, so now you feel that stretch shift over into the right adductor. Then we're going to shift back again, staying low. Shift to the left. Good. Breathe. Shift to the right. Shift to the left. Let's go one more way each time. One more time each way, sorry. Shift to the right. And shift to the left. Back to center. We're going to come up, nice and slow, easy, good. Wiggle those feet in, good. One last thing, let's get that T-spine extension. So we're going to go with about roughly hip to shoulder width stance, whatever's most comfortable. You actually might be slightly better with a little bit of a wider stance so you don't have your hips blocking that hinging pattern. So I'm going to go with a shoulder width, toes forward, bottom of the sticks are in line with midfoot. Now my hands are going to be roughly about shoulder height here. Now I'm actually going to turn because the direction I want the sticks to go in, I don't want them to go forward, kind of want them to go out. So this allows you to kind of open up into that T-spine extension, but also you're not getting that tightness in the pecs blocking it. So from here, we're going to have arms straight, lightly drive the sticks down about 10 to 20%, super light. And now I'm going to hinge back, driving the hands out. And I want to create as long of a spine as I can here. Now you should be feeling a stretch in that mid and upper back. Breathe. Going to come back up. Good. We're going to go into it again. Hands out. Drive those hips back. Reach. Excellent. Come back up. Good. Knees off. And that is it. Thank you for today's stick mobility class. I appreciate everybody joining me on your Saturday. So next week, we're still going to be focusing on some drills, but we're going to go at it from a little bit of a different aspect. So we're going to focus on a little bit of posterior chain. So a little bit more glute specific and a little bit more hamstring specific. But I will be sure to catch you all next week. Have a good one. Stay safe.